Good afternoon and welcome to Talk on the Block. Very shortly, we will be joined by the Shadow Finance Minister of the Opposition United Workers' Party. He will speak to the budget presented today by Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit. I will admit that the biggest request from me on the streets of Roseau not even the budget, but this from President Obama this morning.
Let me be honest with you, I do not understand this. I am in my second term. It has been an extraordinary privilege for me to serve as the President of the United States. I cannot imagine a greater honor or a more interesting job. I love my work. But under our Constitution, I cannot run again. I can't run again. I actually think I'm a pretty good president. I think if I ran, I could win. But I can't. So there's a lot that I'd like to do to keep America moving, but the law is the law. And no one person is above the law, not even the president. And I'll be honest with you, I'm looking forward to life after being president. I won't have such a big security detail all the time. It means I can go take a walk. I can spend time with my family. I can find other ways to serve. I can visit Africa more often. The point is, I don't understand why people want to stay so long. Especially when they've got a lot of money. When a leader tries to change the rules in the middle of the game just to stay in office, it risks instability and strife, as we've seen in Burundi. And this is often just a first step down a perilous path. And sometimes you'll hear a leader say, well, I'm the only person who can hold this nation together. If that's true, then that leader has failed to truly build their nation. You look at Nelson Mandela. Madiba, like George Washington, forged a lasting legacy, not only because of what they did in office, but because they were willing to leave office and transfer power peacefully. And just as the African Union has condemned coups and illegitimate transfers of power, the AU's authority and strong voice can also help the people of Africa ensure that their leaders abide by term limits and their constitutions. Nobody should be president for life. And your country's better off if you have new blood and new ideas. I'm still a pretty young man. But I know that somebody with new energy and new insights will be good for my country. It will be good for yours too in some cases.
The match of 1,000 Patriots coming this Thursday.
Show Dominica that we can stand for what is right in Dominica.
A match for jobs, lower cost of living, and better quality of life. A match for justice and electoral reform. A match against the abuse of our children. A match against bad governance, corruption, and spending of public money.
Dominicans and Patriots, ladies and gentlemen.
Show Dominica that we can stand for what is right in Dominica.
Join the match for 1,000 Dominican Patriots, standing for God, standing for country. This Thursday, July 28th, 4:30 p.m. from Lindo Park through the city of Roseau. Yes, you heard right, from 4:30 p.m. this Thursday from Lindo Park through the streets of Roseau, ending in a mega meeting in Lagon from 7 p.m. From every corner of Dominica, 1,000 Patriots march on Roseau. This Thursday, put your boots on the ground. On the ground.
Don't give up the fight.
This summer is turned all the way up with the biggest weeknight event, Reggae on the Boardwalk. Every Thursday evening from 9, Boardwalk Restaurant, Lubia Highway, with Tree the Hard Way, DJ Matthew, Miguel Labadie, and the 10-finger General RS Digital. The hottest, latest, and greatest reggae and dancehall tunes, supported by Digicel. Be extraordinary as the fans, agents for Appleton Rum and Kira Vodka. Vibes Radio, the champion station, Kupuli Beer, and presented by Mira Entertainment. See you at Reggae on the Boardwalk this summer.
Why every time when you forgive me, you not give me a free fight, yeah?
Now you want to find out what's going down in the budget. The shadow minister and the opposition United Workers Party and economist Dr. Thompson Fontaine is here with us. Dr. Fontaine, no stranger to the studios of Q95. Your first impressions
Matt,
on the 2016 fiscal package.
Yes, Matt, good afternoon to you and to your many, many listeners. My first impression, as I just made it very clear to a few reporters outside the House of Assembly, is one of disappointment. Disappointed because the single most important issue facing the Dominican people, that of the lack of jobs for the young people of this country, has not been addressed. And tied into that is the question of how do you grow the economy.
But hold on. But before that, didn't the Prime Minister say just about a week ago that, people from St. Martin and the original country should come home? Now you're telling me that there is nothing to do with jobs for young people?
That is correct, Matt. That is very correct. What the Prime Minister is pinning his hopes on is his public sector investment program, where he has thrown in millions and millions of dollars. For example, he's put $40 million towards the EC Low Black Highway. $40 million. That's a road that cost $100 million to build. How many? 5, 6 years ago? It's
You're talking about the
EO Leblanc,
yeah.
EC, the EO Leblanc, the West Coast Road.
Okay. So they're dumping more money into that.
$40 million has been apportioned to this road, and $25 million to agriculture. So there is clearly a misunderstanding. And I said it before, and I'll say it again. It seems to me the Prime Minister does not understand economics. He does not understand the way the economy works. What you need to be doing is you need to be putting money into sustainable things that are sustainable. What I mean by sustainable, things that can generate income for the country, that can put people to work and have them on a sustained basis. So one of the things we saw, for example, was his boast that the NEP program continues. And he says those of us who have been criticizing should even apologize when we make our contribution. I will not apologize for criticizing the NEP, because I still believe that the monies that have been used to have young people who have gone to college, who have gone to high school, the monies that have been used to pay these people now to plant flowers by the roadside could have gone into a factory, for example. You spend about $100,000, you can build, probably, I guess $10 million or even less. You can build a state-of-the-art factory to employ several hundreds of people tied into the agriculture sector that can continue to provide jobs for years and years and years to come. So he has not done that. And if you look throughout this whole budget, is what we've seen is the international community has abandoned Dominica. So we have very little by way of grants coming into the country. That has been replaced by millions of dollars from the Economic Citizenship Program, the ECP program. Now, my concern about this is you have these monies currently. Why not do as they did, for example, in St. Kitts? St. Kitts used that money to train their young people, to provide work, and now the economy is growing by 6 and 7% a year. Why not do the same thing here in Dominica? Why not use those resources from this program to put into things that can generate economic activity for the country, so that 2-3 years down the road, your economy will be growing by 6-7%. What we have is a waste, if you like, of resources. And let me kind of qualify that, because a lot of these monies, for example, will be going to his public support program. I have nothing against supporting poor people. But the question then becomes, why are they there in the first place? The reason why you now have to support these poor people is because after 16 years in government, you have failed to provide jobs. So these people are perpetually poor, and now you're trying to prop them up with state resources. Now, if you had done the approach, and that is the fundamental difference between Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit and the Dominican Labour Party and the United Workers' Party. With those level of resources, we keep arguing, put these monies into areas that can generate growth, that can revitalize the agriculture sector, that can rebuild the tourism sector, that can rebuild the services sector. Do it in such a way that you create sustainable jobs, and you will grow the economy in that way. You'll then be able to expand the tax base, and people will have more money. Then there'll be no need for a huge public support program. But you are escalating, you are growing the public support program, because more and more people are joining the ranks of the poor and the poverty-stricken in this country. And that is what is going on. Matt, like I said, I am very disappointed in this. And the other reason why I have very little confidence, and why the Prime Minister was pointing to the fact that he's putting so much money into roads and bridges and those kinds of things, is that we look from experience. In 2014-15, there was $174 million that would go towards the public sector investment program. Only $73 million was spent. In 2015-16, the year that just ended, $184 million was apportioned or budgeted. Only about $110 million was actually spent, about 60%. So you are not able to meet or to fulfill all your investment plans. refocus. And you know, the more we say that, and I had a discussion with a top government worker a while ago, and I was trying to explain that to her. It's not that we're against progress in this country. I mean, I will be the first man to be shouting for joy if there was something positive I could hang on to. And I'm looking, I'm trying, I'm searching for something because I want to see sustainability.
Nothing in that speech
growth
that could be lauded?
Matt, there is, like I said, I agree, it's good to support the elderly people.
Right.
And the poverty-stricken people in this country. But people need to understand what brought us there in the first place. In other words, the people that will be receiving this public support, wouldn't they have preferred to be working on their own? Wouldn't they have preferred to be out there with a job they can go to every day?
Those that can work.
Yes, and take care of themselves and leave the very little portion that cannot work, either through illness or whatever, to be taken care of by government. Instead, the whole thing is reversed. More and more people are joining this. So to me,
so we have more of the population on welfare.
On welfare, exactly. Now we're talking about what I should be applauded. Well, I welcome the geothermal plant. He mentioned a 7 megawatt geothermal plant. Now 7 megawatt I think is very small. From my recollection, we probably consume about 30 megawatts. And if you have 7, it will do something, but it's not going to seriously tackle the high cost of electricity on the island. So if you're looking for something good, yes, that's good. But why such a small plant? Why is it so limited after these millions of dollars spent?
50 million plus.
Yes, that was spent. And now we're saying it's going to have a 7 megawatt plant being built in the next couple of years. You know, so Matt, you know, and I'm looking forward very much to contributing to this. Like I said, it's not that we are looking for bad things, always saying that things can be done differently. And we really wish the Prime Minister would have listened to us. Right after Erica, for example, the Prime Minister put together a high-powered panel of individuals from within Dominica who were supposed to have advised him on the way forward after Erica. I don't see any of that coming through in the budget. What happened? Did the group not meet? Did they not provide, you know, some answers? But what we need in Dominica, and I'll say it again, what we need in Dominica urgently is to put people to work. Once you put people to work, a lot of your problems are solved. The second thing, and I wish I had time to actually get the exact quote, but if you read the IMF Article 4 report that was just done, the IMF said that they're very concerned about the fiscal affairs in Dominica, in other words, the state of the government financing in Dominica. Because the two things that government relied on heavily, grants and the citizenship program, the IMF words were that these things could stop. Okay? Now, if that stops, if, for example, tomorrow there is something that happens, say, and the US says, well, anybody for Dominica passport, they're not going to, let's say something happens, all right? We have no control over. Something happens that people say they no longer want Dominica passports. What happens? Your entire budget falls apart. Because now, according to the Prime Minister, $201 million of budget of passport monies are now going towards recurrent spending. How do you sustain that? The way you build an economy is by growing your tax base. You put people to work, you grow the tax base, and you could then have a sustainable source of revenue to continue to do the work of government. And we are not saying that. And I'm really, really concerned.
Let's take a phone call. Any one of you listen to the budget speech today? Hello. Hello. Nobody in the telephone? 449-3095-96 and 97. 1:28 is the afternoon time. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
Our economist can speak to Skerrit how he wants. Skerrit hasn't got the brain or thought. Skerrit is like a runaway train. Skerrit is like a madman running after a wild pig. Skerrit don't understand nothing. So why waste all the time with Skerrit? Skerrit don't know what his budget. Skerrit don't know what he's planning. Skerrit put down his head, get crazy, his head empty. He's just like a runaway train.
Well, okay, but I mean, this one I heard of a $700 million budget. It sounded like something big in there?
Well, it's always like something big, but I've always maintained, in fact, when we were doing our own budget, I maintain that for the size of the country, you really need between $800 to $1 billion to really make anything of significance. And also you need the funding of this budget to be more diversified. In other words, my concern about this budget is the fact that about $200 million, the difference between last year's budget and this year's budget, is supposed to come from the sale of passports. The question is, how come all of a sudden we have so much money? What happened? This passport program has been running since we had $20 million in 2014, $99 million in the year just passed, and now we have been told we're going to get $200 million in the year coming. What has happened all of a sudden? You see, I am always using, this is similar. This situation is similar to somebody winning the lottery, where you suddenly come up across a whole set of money suddenly that you did not bank on. What happens is how you spend. What determines 10 years down the road the successful people are those who spend this money wisely. I'm not seeing that. I am seeing a government that is extending the base. As the Prime Minister said, the Red Clinic is now going to be in 4 corners of Dominica. So people can now go to the Prime Minister and get money, get support. That's not how you build a country. That's not how you build people's self-esteem and you build people's sense of pride. People want to go to work and work with their hands and do things and send their children to school and buy their vehicles and go to the bank and get a loan. They want to have that level of independence. None of that you can get when people are subject to getting $300 EC a month. It's just not going to happen.
Hello.
Good afternoon to you, Thompson, and the listening public. Mr. Skerritt always wants to link with himself with honorable gentleman. And he always quotes what Obama says. But I am listening to hear him quote the clip you playing from Obama, because he is not an honorable man, he's an honorable gentleman. And you don't expect him to say anything pertaining to that of the children and the less fortunate, the jobless people. Is corruption the man good in, and that is what he's promoting. Can't you all see his pocket is fattening with our passport money? But don't worry, the hook will hook him one of them days. Have a blessed afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mark.
Yes.
I listened to the budget address till the Prime Minister closed, but it have 2 things I was listening to more positive. The first thing, I don't hear the Prime Minister mention nothing about no project. How are you going to grow your economy? You make sure you have to have project at hand so people will be working. The second one, I heard the Prime Minister, I don't hate. If you have your boyfriend is crippled. If you have your husband is crippled. I agree to assist. But you cannot tell me you have your boyfriend done supporting you have 3 children, 4 children. Bring that husband to court or bring the boyfriend to court and let them pay you. In other words, you're going and entice women now. Go and make children. And when you make children, we will support. I disagree with that one complete. Let the husband or the boyfriend, they not die, they don't die, they not overstay. Support your children, and if you need assistance, I can come in, but I'm not going to take that responsibility. You mean to tell me you're going to employ more people to go and make children and you're going to support? No, that's not something right. And no project, that's bad.
Thank you. Somebody says here, I'll come back to you, Dr. Thompson Fontaine. By putting the passport money in the budget, is the government finding a legal way to steal money? You agree with that?
Well, it's not been stolen because it's going towards government-funded programs. So that is a good thing, and that's what we have been calling for. But we're also calling for more transparency and accountability as well. It does not mean because suddenly we have $200 million we're going to be happy. We are going to be asking, well, why is it $200 million? Is it really $300 million? We still do not have the accounting that needs to go with this. Matt, just before you call us, something else they said I wanted to go. That issue of pay up or go up, the Prime Minister said that he's going to have a new maintenance bill to go after deadbeat dads, okay, or people who don't take care of the children. This is good. This is welcome. But at the same time, you have a lot of young people young men in this country who don't have jobs. Well, you might say, well, you don't have a job, don't go get a child. But the fact of the matter is, people have children. And the question is, if you're not working, if you cannot get a job within this economy, Is the government going to now jail you for not taking care of your responsibilities? So the government has a responsibility to provide jobs for the people. And
this morning I heard economist Mac Marie, it's a Peter and pull out the clip just did, saying basically that we don't have enough people to produce.
Matt, I heard that.
You heard that?
Well, as a fellow economist, I'm not criticizing Mac Marie at all, but it seems to me that there are people in Dominica who wants to work. There are several people that need work and are looking for work. Even within the NEP program, the Prime Minister says it's about 1,300 people. I'm sure there are 3-4 times the number of people who.
So how do you conclude that we don't have people to produce?
This is bizarre to me. This is I don't understand it.
All right, maybe we'll get him to explain sometime. Hello.
Good evening, Matt.
Yes.
Matt, I am in total agreement with what Dr. Tonkin says, because what we have seen, Matt, is an establishment of a welfare state, Matt, where this Prime Minister wants to prepare for people, Matt, from the cradle to the grave. Matt, you cannot grow an economy with that. Matt, our social security is going to suffer. Social security is going to fall. Matt, if social security continues paying out and nobody is employed, so money is not coming in, it is going to collapse. Matt, a government which uses the money of a country to promote its party's political objective must be removed from office, and removed quickly, otherwise this country will sink. But Venezuela had a better economy than ours. Look at where they are today. You cannot continue giving, and nothing is coming in. Give people jobs, let them work, let them earn their money, Matt. Have a good day, Matt.
Have a good day too. Somebody says here to me in a WhatsApp message, the budget is empty as far as building the productive sector. As Thompson said, there is nothing in the budget to support sustainable development. The passport money suddenly appearing in the budget is wash money. Where was all the money before? That's what Thompson is saying. We need a little transparency. Hello. Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, yes.
Thompson?
Hi, Clayton.
Look, it's clear to me that the Labour Party administration are building a system to ensure that they remain in government. So you have a contest, as you have quite properly explained, between putting investment into productive areas as against the shift on the social program side. Well, the social program side has a certain attraction for the Dominican people, and the Labour Party administration and Mr. Skerritt are using this and using it effectively, and have won a number of elections on that very same strategy. Now, this business of putting investment into productive areas so workers and families can be more independent, I don't think the Labour government is interested in that particular line at all. And so we have to be very, very careful as we are looking at this budget to see in what way the budget and the direction it is taking is connected to keeping the Labour Party government in power over a prolonged period of time. I heard the recording of Obama's statements. Obama is correct. A number of countries in which the people who are in power insist on setting up systems to keep themselves in power because their constitution doesn't have the limitation that we have in the United States. Skerritt himself has said publicly that he intends to stay in there for how many decades, I don't know, but for a very, very long time. So now how are we going to solve this problem? To shift the investment and the budget and the monies that are going to be spent into those areas, as you have quite correctly mentioned, promoting tourism, rebuilding our agriculture. I don't think that the government in place now has any great interest in going in that direction. it is better for them to maintain themselves in power by building on the social programs so that they can have Dominicans beholden to them. And the fact of the matter is, if we are going to be honest with ourselves, the fact of the matter is that that particular arrangement and strategy has worked. How else are we going to explain to the Dominican people or even to the international community how the Labour Party has been able to maintain itself in power over this prolonged period of time? The answer, to me anyway, is very, very clear. Now, how are we going to turn that around? That is going to be a huge struggle. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, too. More telephone calls. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
Dr. Fontaine.
Yes, good afternoon.
The gentleman, the doctor just before, I think he was very eloquent in stating that this budget, and Dr. Fontaine has actually spoken to it, is really about keeping the Labour Party in power. And but of course, you are not seeing, and when we speak, when the emptiness of the budget comes in terms of the economy, when you link it to economic development, economy is basically, you will look through the world, they are basically, the driver is about job creation. So here you heard the Prime Minister spoke of how many, there's going to be this hotel over here, this resort over here, and so on. But you have not heard the Prime Minister spoken to any number of jobs that are projected in terms of real numbers that we could be saying here now that he has spoken to, say, creating new jobs of probably in another year's time, we will probably have 7,000, 10,000 jobs created in all of those different projects that he speaks to. It's as if it doesn't matter at all, and it's just about a social program. I mean, in ending here, when you look at a country's development and success is measured by how low you are able to take poverty. So when Mr. Skerritt comes here and beats his chest about, well, now I am going to increase to deal with the higher level of poverty, we're now going to have 4 zones where we will be distributing welfare. A country cannot speak to its development in that fashion at all. And this is where I see the budget is empty in terms of job creation and national development for the people.
Okay, we come back to you, Dr. Thompson Fontaine, but I need to read this comment here on WhatsApp. If we accept Mark Marie's comments, then it would mean that no country with a population less than ours should do well economically. And we know that is not true. There are countries with lesser populations doing much better than Dominica. Check. Example, St. Martin. Hello, talk to me.
Yeah, Matt, St. Kitts has 40,000 population, and their minimum wage is $8.25 an hour.
You see?
And they're doing well. Their economy is booming. So what Mark Murray is saying there is not consistent with an economist's point of view at all.
All right, thank you very much. 4493095, 4493096. You want to make a comment there quickly?
Yes, Matt. With regards to this hotel project, another big theme is, Kempinski is coming. They're working since January, and the Hilton is coming, and so on. He mentioned all of these other projects. But we have a problem in Dominica. Our existing hotels, they function at 30-40% occupancy because we see people can't get to Dominica. So how are we going to build all of those other hotels? Do you have to now do like Sam Raphael did for Jungle Bay? Get your own airline. Remember, for Sam to get people to his hotel in Jungle Bay, he had to go and get his own airline to do that. So are you saying now Kempinski has to get his own airline in Hilton? What about addressing the issue of access into Dominica before you build those hotels?
Skerritt and his government, somebody says he has lost ideas on the best way to develop Dominica. Skerritt has created a mendicancy government of abusing Dominicans and their families who are poor, unemployed. You agree with that?
I agree with that, Matt. And what he has chatted out is a path towards re-election, possible re-election, because people who don't have nothing are thankful for $300 EC a month that can barely buy you a plastic of groceries, but they have nothing, so it's fair game. They'll vote for him for that.
Hello, talk to me.
Hello, Matt. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I don't know if I heard correctly that Mr. Fontaine is against government going after the men who will not support their children.
No. He didn't say that. But you can answer for himself.
No, I welcome it there. I welcome that. I think it's a good thing. But I was saying that you're going to have another problem in that so many young men are not working in Dominica. So how do you enforce that? How do you tell a man who is not working that he has to now pay up or he goes to jail? What does he use to pay up? That's the question I was asking.
So the children will go without food.
Well, yes, they're already going without food because in most cases the father is not able to provide for them. I'm just saying that as a government, you address the issue of job creation first before all of these things come into play, because you pay up or you go up. The fact of the matter is a large number of young men with kids in this country, they do not have jobs.
But the irony about it, you go to jail. You're fed well up there and your children remain hungry.
He says pay up or go up, yeah.
144.
Yes, Matt.
Yes.
Skerrit is not interested in productivity, Matt. Skerrit wants everybody to come and beg him, and then everybody will say, thank God for Skerrit. He is not interested in productivity.
All right, thank you. Another thing that we'll come back to you in a minute here that many people were talking about today on the block was this. Michelle Obama speaking at the 2016 Democratic National Convention.
Thank you so much.
We'll listen for a few minutes.
You know, it's hard to believe that it has been 8 years since I first came to this convention to talk with you about why I thought my husband should be president. Remember how I told you about his character and conviction, his decency and his grace, the traits that we've seen every day that he served our country in the White House. I also told you about our daughters, how they are the heart of our hearts, the center of our world, and during our time in the White House, we've had the joy of watching them grow from bubbly little girls into poised young women, a journey that started soon after we arrived in Washington, when they set off for their first day at their new school. I will never forget that winter morning as I watched our girls, just 7 and 10 years old, pile into those black SUVs with all those big men with guns. And I saw their little faces pressed up against the window. And the only thing I could think was, what have we done? See, because at that moment, I realized that our time in the White House would form the foundation for who they would become. And how well we managed this experience could truly make or break them. That is what Barack and I think about every day as we try to guide and protect our girls through the challenges of this unusual life in the spotlight. How we urge them to ignore those who question their father's citizenship or faith. How we insist that the hateful language they hear from public figures on TV does not represent the true spirit of this country. How we explain that when someone is cruel or acts like a bully, you don't stoop to their level. No, our motto is, when they go low, we go high. With every word we utter, with every action we take, we know our kids are watching us. We as parents are their most important role models. And let me tell you, Barack and I take that same approach to our jobs as President and First Lady because we know that our words and actions matter, not just to our girls, but to children across this country. Kids who tell us I saw you on TV. I wrote a report on you for school. Kids like the little black boy who looked up at my husband, his eyes wide with hope, and he wondered, is my hair like yours? And make no mistake about it, this November when we go to the polls, that is what we're deciding. Not Democrat or Republican, not left or right. No, in this election and every election is about who will have the power to shape our children for the next 4 or 8 years of their lives. And I am here tonight because in this election, there is only one person who I trust with that responsibility. Only one person who I believe is truly qualified to be President of the United States, and that is our friend Hillary Clinton. That's right. See, I trust Hillary to lead this country because I've seen her lifelong devotion to our nation's children. Not just her own daughter, who she has raised to perfection, but every child who needs a champion. Kids who take the long way to school to avoid the gangs. Kids who wonder how they'll ever afford college. Kids whose parents don't speak a word of English but dream of a better life. Kids who look to us to determine who and what they can be. You see, Hillary has spent decades doing the relentless, thankless work to actually make a difference in their lives. Advocating for kids with disabilities as a young lawyer, fighting for children's health care as First Lady, and for quality child care in the Senate. And when she didn't win the nomination 8 years ago, she didn't get angry or disillusioned. Hillary did not pack up and go home. Because as a true public servant, Hillary knows that this is so much bigger than her own desires and disappointments. So she proudly stepped up to serve our country once again as Secretary of State, traveling the globe to keep our kids safe. And look, there were plenty of moments when Hillary could have decided that this work was too hard, that the price of public service was too high, that she was tired of being picked apart for how she looks or how she talks or even how she laughs. But here's the thing. What I admire most about Hillary is that she never buckles under pressure. She never takes the easy way out. And Hillary Clinton has never quit on anything in her life.
Another talking point on Talk on the Block, and I'm sure you'll hear a lot more about that. Observers and political, commentators said last night that was the best speech at the Democratic National Convention. I don't know if you listened for a minute there, Thompson Fontaine.
Yes, Matt, I did. Very, very good. I also liked Bernie's speech as well.
Yes, Bernie was very good as well, yes.
But, Michelle's a class act.
Yeah, but coming back to the local budget, we just, of course, touching points or talking on issues on the block for the day today, Tuesday. But moving forward, when does the debate start on the budget?
Tomorrow, Matt. In the past, it used to be the Prime Minister would present his statement and give the opposition at least a week to prepare the response.
What has happened?
Suddenly, we are down to less than 24 hours. So we are back in the House tomorrow at 10 o'clock, which I think is not fair to the opposition. We need more time because a lot of the things we're just hearing today. In fact, I left Parliament without a hard copy of the Prime Minister's speech. It was not made available to us.
Well, for some strange reason, you did not get a copy, but I I think his press persons or press team sent out one there before 1 o'clock. So
the entire speech.
I suspect it might
excerpts.
be. I suspect it might be the entire.
Think, it's really disgraceful how we have been treated in this parliament. We got the numbers very, very late. It was held up by the speaker. We got that very, very late. Now the speech of the Prime Minister, he's giving us less than 24 hours to go through it and to come back with a reasoned response. But we'll do our best. I took copious notes, so I'll be able to.
It says budget statement by Dominican's Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit. So I suspect.
But I'm going to ask you, can you forward this to my email, please? Thank you.
I will do that.
Thank you.
All right. Let's take a phone call. 449-3095. Hello.
Matt.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Matt, why would Thompson and the opposition want more time when they knew everything? They have the answer for everything that was coming. They knew what the budget was going to be like. They know what is supposed to be in there, what should have been in there.
But they're saying they have not received a copy of the statement made today.
All yesterday, you had the leader of the opposition on Matt, and he had the answer for everything. He knew what was going to be in the budget, and he was already predicting probably.
So why is it, if you're claiming that, why is it that they don't have a copy of the statement? I have a copy. I'm just a press person. And why is it that they don't have a copy?
If you have one, give it to him, borrow it to him.
449-309. You haven't answered my question, though. Hello.
Good afternoon, Matt. Good afternoon, Mr. Fontaine. Mr. Fontaine, could you help me on something? Did I hear the Prime Minister said that the $40 million from the passport money was going to fix the Portsmouth Road?
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So then my question is, why is it that 40 million is coming from the passport money and they are bringing down Chinese companies to fix that road? Why not creating jobs for the local people down here?
Caller, that's an excellent question. The same thing that's going from, and that's what I'm going to be asking in Parliament tomorrow. If it's your own money, couldn't that go towards the public works and have them do the repairs on the road? I mean, surely public works can do repairs on the road.
All right, let's take another phone call. Caller, are you there?
Yeah, good afternoon. First time caller. Great program.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, but two things I heard you guys criticizing the Prime Minister about that I have to defend him. Well, not really defend, but I think you guys wrong. The first one is put up or go up. I mean, obviously, the Prime Minister cannot explain that if you work in and you don't pay child support, you're going up. It's obvious if you're not working, you cannot pay, so he don't even have to talk about that. He's making a general statement. And as grown people, we should have common sense to know that it's only when you're working you could pay, so that's what he's talking about. The second one about adding $300, he's talking about 70 years and up. So naturally, 70 years and up people cannot be working. He's not talking about people that working that's going to get it. He's talking about 70 years and up. And I heard you guys criticizing that a person 70 years and up cannot be working, so they have to depend on government for the contribution. That's my contribution to the program today.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, caller. But I was referring, to take your last thing first, I was referring to the public support program, which it does not